Stuart,
Yes.
in one of your blog posts, you were talking, the last line of it was embracing the new. Can you speak about embracing the new, embracing change, letting go of the past?
No, Jenny, I talk about that so much, it's almost like a broken record. Look, 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 it's the option of living in stagnant water and making things into something, that we're comfortable with, that we're familiar with, doesn't threaten us. There's a false sense of security about them. Please try and sit up and do the meditation while I talk. Or opening to what's infinite in the universe. If we want to truly connect with God, then our goal is to connect with an energy that has no limitation. An energy that is beyond human comprehension, it's intangible, and it creates newness all the time. It creates us stepping, into the unknown, going across that edge, learning how to stop being afraid of change. And it's learning how to truly complete cycles in our lives, so that we can move on to another level of consciousness. This meditation practice is basically all about that. Letting go, surrender. Rudy's last words were a deeper sense of surrender. Letting go. Moving on to the next level that we need to move on to in order to grow and get closer to our spiritual enlightenment. This manifests in the world, it manifests on a spiritual level. And yet, this is so essential. Even, for God's sake, even Madison Avenue, understand, it's the new Babbo, it's the new Fab, they're always talking about that. Because the newness of something really excites people's energy. So it's very important to understand how important change is. Change is the energy of Shiva, the energy of destruction and creation. In a more basic terminology is breaking down the old and opening to what the new brings, the new level of growth of consciousness of us. These things are essential. Otherwise, we kind of live in stagnant water. We create a world around ourselves that is so familiar. It doesn't change. And anything that really comes to us that brings change is an intimidation and a threat. It's even, alcoholics, for God's sake, try to get them off booze. It's like, you've got to completely transform their inner life for them to let go of it. The things that are killing them. Because people get so comfortable in living in the familiar. And even if the familiar is killing them, they're comfortable living there. That change is a very difficult thing. And yet, in this meditation practice, change is essential. Developing the capacity to step into the unknown, not being afraid of the unknown, recognizing that all creative energy exists in the unknown. I've said it, a number of times, I'll say, it's like I read this thing about the composer Bach. He was dying. And everybody was lamenting and crying. And he said, well, what are you so upset about? I'm just going to where the music comes from. Understand? Going to where all creative energy comes from. And, he didn't even want to hang on to his life. He was embracing God, embracing that energy that really was producing all of the music, the art, dancing, life itself. Even the mundane in life is a manifestation of energy that flows here from the unknown. And our work is to embrace that, is to open to that, is to recharge ourselves, regenerate ourselves, resurrect ourselves. There's a good word. Resurrect ourselves, to be reborn on a higher plane of consciousness, which means we've got to let go of everything. We have to let go of the past. We have to let go of things in order to make room for the new. I mean, even before I met Rudy, I understood this, but it was just an intellectual understanding. It was only through, please try and sit still. It's only through the time I spent with him and I saw what he used to go through, transforming himself, opening to the unknown, growing spiritually, that I realized, Stuart, this is never going to work for you unless you're willing to let go. It's not going to, I understood it wouldn't be the way Rudy did it, but I had to let go. I had to let go of all the things that were keeping me, living in kind of stagnant water, living in the past, living in a false sense of security, opening to change. Because it all comes from what's infinite in the universe. And that stagnant pool of water is energy, truly, that we ultimately have to let go of anyway. So change is really one of the great keys to this meditation practice, very important element to it. And it develops a few things. One of them is a fearlessness about the way you live your life. Fearlessness that comes with consciousness about the way you overcome fear. You overcome that part of you that is afraid to take a step, to open to a new creative force of energy. And yet, if you want spiritual enlightenment, I mean, that's the path. Whether it's what I teach or somebody else teaches, and the path is no path. I mean, Lao Tzu, the path is no path. I mean, then there's another Japanese expression I really like: climb Mount Fuji, O snail, but slowly, slowly. Take it a step at a time. Letting go is very difficult. You need to get strong enough inside to do it. And that allows us to let go of things that inhibit our lives in the world and things that are keeping us from having a spiritual life. Now, I'm not saying this is easy. It's not easy. But you meet somebody, you fall in love with them. The newness of it makes people sparkle. The newness of it creates a twinkle in their eye. Their hearts are open. Everything is good. They can't see anything wrong about that other person. No matter what they do, it's okay. There's that newness of falling in love. Well, we should fall in love every day with life and recognize that we live in the center of God's creation and everything around us is sacred. The people, the objects, the family, friends, it's all sacred. But how can it be sacred if it becomes kind of old and stale? It's like a kid, I mean, you see a 3-year-old kid, everything is new. Everything is a major new experience. Well, we have to find that 3-year-old child inside ourselves that allows us to totally, open to the newness of every experience we have in life. At every moment of our lives, we fall in love with life. And then you have a partner, you have a husband, a wife, and children, then you can constantly see the newness in them and fall in love with them. And even if there are things that bug you, and this, you can forgive it because there's that newness, that thing, that child in them, that, seed of God in them that you fall in love with every day. It renews itself. A pretty cool way to live. And then we don't bitch and complain a lot. We just, I had somebody got in touch with me the other day. Well, I had this big fight with somebody and I shouldn't have, and I was angry. And I wrote them back an email. I said, look, why are you angry at the person? The person is just telling you how full of shit you are, how you're covering up this deep-seated anger inside yourself that they're bringing. So you should be grateful to them that they're bringing this out of you. Now you have a chance to change and to fix it. And that person, their presence, made that possible. And then you begin to look at people differently, You can accept that we too, all of us, need people to remind us that we need to grow. We need to become bigger people. We need to change and stuff. Does anyone else have a question? I hope this is clear because it's not just for Jenny, it's for all of us, including me. I mean, look, there are parts of me that get upset, get angry. Less and less. I don't have it as much as I used to. But, I try to keep it from doing damage to another. I just say, look, all right, thank you for showing me what kind of a schmuck I am inside. I need to grow. I need to grow. And people come into your life to show you that. I mean, God sends them. They're really messengers of God telling you what you got to do about yourself, how you got to change inside to grow. Does anyone else have a question? Just have a few announcements to make. I'm not going to be teaching class tomorrow. Jennifer sent out a notice about it, but I'll repeat it. I have every 2 months I get this procedure with my eye, the retina in my eye, and it really makes it impossible for me to do anything. Everything is blurry in my right eye, So I won't be teaching class tomorrow. There will be a class on Wednesday. Secondly, Bob Sink has done a beautiful job of upgrading my website. And if you haven't gone there, I suggest go there. There's so much there that is just nurturing and it's now presented really beautifully. And including this whole thing that I'm excited about, this posting, blog, the kind of thing that I'm posting there. Now it's on Tantra. And Tantra is a subject that always intrigues everybody. And it's a whole different view of Tantra than you generally read about in books. So I would suggest going there. It's a more personal way of using the tantric energy to develop a spiritual life and also to develop one's humanity. So I suggest if you haven't gone to see that, go see it. Take you 10 minutes to read these things. And it might give you a new insight into the meditation that I teach and that Rudy taught, and help you, to move forward in your spiritual development. Would you go to stuartperrin.com? And he did a beautiful job, Bob. I am so proud of what he did. He just upgraded it. It's on a whole different level now. Does anyone else have a question you would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, there will be class on Wednesday. And once again, God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you for participating in these classes. And they certainly are helping me to grow. And I'm very grateful to have you all here and to be able to share what I've learned with all of you, and also to learn what you've learned, which is very important in my life. As I say, you all are my teacher. And I humbly respect that and bow to that. And thank you. And there'll be a class on Wednesday. God bless you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart. Good night.
Welcome. Good night.